heads of state of ECOWAS have said that in spite of all, in spite of all that has happened following from the withdrawal, ECOWAS doors must remain open to not just the people of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger to re-enter. Their rights of free movement and to settle should be unimpeded. Would you like to comment generally to start with?
Yeah, you see, let me make some preamble.
Sure.
ECOWAS state is a combination of West African countries which are being colonized by British and the French. And they come together to form an economic community of West African states in 1975. Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, from the initial stage of formation of ECOWAS, were full-time members of ECOWAS. So it's a really disheartening. Or looking at the higher land mass of Mali. When you remove Nigeria, Mali is the second largest country in the West Africa sub-region. So it is also a serious gap in terms of formation of this formation of standby forces. And going by also African standby forces, ECOWAS standby forces is an integral part of African standby forces in line with the United Nations chapter 15, chapter 8 of United Nations Charter. So it's in line with this that ECOWAS also is integral part of African standby forces. So going by the meeting of the Chief of Defense Staff of West African sub-region to reactivate standby forces is long overdue, but there is serious challenge at hand following the withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic. The challenge is, let me give you a simple explanation.
Sure.
Niger Republic share border with Borno State, share border with Jigawa State, share border with Katsina State, share border with Yobe State, share border with Zamfara State, share border with Kebbi State, share border with Katsina State, share border with Jigawa State. So the pulling out of Niger Republic and you looking at the reactivation of standby forces, there's still a lot of ongoing space where the security or joint task force may not have some meaningful effect or impact. Because if the Niger Republic refuse to deploy their forces or their securities to this neighboring border state, then it will give a lot of gap because of the porosity of the border. In Nigeria, we have more than 1,300 illegal routes and only 90 routes, border point, entry point. We have more than 1,300 illegal entry point and only 90 entry point were legal, which are being monitored by immigration services and other security agencies. So that gives also room for proliferation of smaller and lighter arms and smuggling of hard drugs and also illegal immigrants coming into Nigeria without any valid documents. So these are some of the consequences of not having Niger on board and Mali on board. And Mali share also border with Ghana, with Togo, with Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and Mauritius. So that also will give inflow of ISIS, Boko Haram, Lakura, and others. Because if I can take you back, Lakura originated from from Mali. You understand? So this is some of the great danger. And what are the dynamics for deployment of this standby forces? Because going by the United Nations Charter and also going by the formation of standby forces is a combination of military, police, and civilian component. But looking at the meeting going on in Abuja, it is only Chief of Defense Staff of ECOWAS who are in attendance. Where are the police chiefs in this ECOWAS state? Where are some of component of the civilian component of the formation of standby forces, ECOWAS standby forces? Because looking at what happened in Gambia, in Liberia, in Mali, in Burkina Faso, these are some of the duties or functions of these standby forces when there is any regional crisis or security challenges or overthrow of government. Then these standby forces will now be deployed to a particular state. In Liberia, standby forces were deployed from 1990 to 1997 to curtail the security or the political turmoil in Liberia.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that overview, Dr. Shinkafi. But as you point out, this was the what is going on right now is the 43rd ordinary meeting of ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff. It's going on in Abuja now, and you just queried there are other components. I wonder if the Chief of Defense Staff for each country, because this was a meeting, so named for them, Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff in Abuja. I wonder if those people are not, under that particular category, but they will be fully briefed by the Chief of Defense Staff of each country. There must have been some thought into, who would attend the ongoing meeting. But you are pointing out that there is a bit more to defense of our environment than just the Chief of Defense Staffs can handle. Is that what you are saying? But is it different from being briefed?
What I'm saying, the meeting, as you have highlighted now, is the meeting of the Chief of Defense Staffs on the west, in the ECOWAS state or in the
That's right.
ECOWAS sub-region, or in the Sahel sub-region. So, having said that, going by also how the formation of the integral parts of formation of ECOWAS standby forces, police, military, and other civilian components are part and parcel of ECOWAS standby forces. That is the reason for formation, the composition, because the civilian component are some who are the medical staff and other health workers and welfare staffs, those who are taking care of some other things in the camp. So these are some of it, what I'm trying to highlight.
Okay.
But I'm starting to be corrected, since the meeting is not for this component, it's only for the Chief of Defense Staff. But still they have a lot of eminence work at hand.
Okay.
With the following, with the withdrawal of Niger Republic and Burkina Faso and Mali, looking at the neighborhood of Niger and Nigeria Republic and Nigeria.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Dr. Shinkafi, also for pointing out the number of countries that Niger, for instance, has borders with. That's why Nigerians, quite frankly, as you know, they have families, they have relatives between their country and Nigerian states. You just listed them. A lot of people are settled there. And that the Committee of Heads of State of the body has said that in spite of their withdrawing, along with Mali and Burkina Faso, in spite of their withdrawing, the doors of ECOWAS must remain open to them. They're still trying to appeal to them to come back, into the fold. So far, things haven't been positive, but the sheer number of states with which Niger, for instance, shares borders, not many people would have known that. And also the detail, because I was going to ask you how this might work, this reactivation of this, what is it now, standby force. But you've just explained that where there's a crisis, the force might be deployed to move in that direction. And that might not be efficient given the numbers. But we can't just fold our arms and do nothing. But the point you are making, if I got you right, was that it remains to be seen how effective this will be given the quest it has, which is to stem terrorism. Is that the point you're making?
The point I'm making, with the widespread of insecurity in Katsina State, Sokoto State, also in Zamfara State, and even in Yobe State and Borno State, where all they share border with the Niger Republic. So in the absence of membership of Niger as members of ECOWAS state, it will leave a lot of gap, and also it will have some negative effect in the deployment of these ECOWAS standby forces. Because the ECOWAS standby forces is a combination of these forces, forces from all the membership countries of West African state, except Cameroon, which is not a member of the ECOWAS from the beginning of the formation. So, looking at the higher rate of armed banditry, insecurity, proliferation of smaller and lighter arms into the land border between land border of Niger Republic and Nigeria, then it is going to be a serious gap, because when the reason for formation of ECOWAS is for economic and political and even peace and security within the region. But now these three countries have pulled out, and their pulling out will significantly affect the deployment of this ECOWAS standby forces. Whether we'll take it or leave it, that is the truth of the matter.
What do you think, is it something of a paradox that in spite of the situation such as you have described, the heads of state, the Committee of Heads of State, have directed that not only will the doors remain open in case there's a change of heart by the three countries that withdrew, which includes, of course, our closest neighbor, Niger, in spite of that, their rights to free movement and indeed settlement must not be affected. Would you comment on that? How does that work? Because of what you've just said, but still the citizens can come and go as they wish, in line with how things were before all of this, present situation.
Yeah, you see, in Niger, if you are going to enter Niger Republic, you can use two of Nigerian passport. You can use either the ECOWAS passport or CDAO passport. That ECOWAS passport, there is pre-entry and pre-movement within the 90 days in all the West African sub-region. Also the green passport, which we call international passport, you can also use it to also get entry into Niger Republic or other West African state. But with the present situation of pulling out of Niger from ECOWAS state, all the Nigerians are not allowed entry into Niger Republic with ECOWAS passport, that blue passport, ECOWAS passport. But you will be granted entry with the green passport as international passport, and they will give you visa waiver. But for you to have entry access with the ECOWAS passport, they have rejected it, and unless and until if you go through the illegal route, that is the illegal border. But if you are going to go into the legal border, then all Nigerians going to Niger Republic are restricted from getting entry into Niger Republic with ECOWAS passport.
Okay. Yeah.
It is there for about 3 months up to today. There is such restriction. But if you are carrying a green passport, then they will grant you a visa waiver, but you are going to pay some certain fees for you to be allowed to have entry into the Niger border. But still some neighboring state, Zamfara State, Sokoto State, Kebbi State, even Katsina State, Niger and this state I have been mentioning are like one family. That's
exactly.
And also, yeah, and they share the same culture and tradition.
In fact, let it be said, these people have, in many instances, have actually intermarried. They have relatives on both sides of the border, on both sides of the official border. So it's really a challenge, and it's most unfortunate that on January 29th, 2025, the decision was made to pull out of the formation. But ECOWAS is leaving its doors open and is still, I understand, working to persuade them to change their mind at this late date. It's like ECOWAS does not want to broker that, does not want to brook the fact that these people are gone. That's not the way we're looking at it. They're not gone. I think ECOWAS is still looking at them as members, even if they have pulled out. The possibility that they can be persuaded to reconsider still exists.
Yeah, you see, it is very difficult for anybody to break up the relationship between the Niger Republic and Nigeria, most especially in the northern part of the state, in the northern state, most especially northwest and northeast. So they are one family, and there is one traditional institute in Sokoto State they call Sarkin Gobir. Even in Niger Republic, in Madawa, they have Sarkin Gobir of Madawa. So we share the same culture, the same religion, the same tradition, and we intermarry. You understand? Looking at even far back, the history of Usman Danfodio of Sokoto Caliphate is also, he migrated from Niger Republic to Nigeria, and he started residing in Sabon Birni, which is the headquarters of the Gobir Empire.
Okay.
And that Gobir Empire was in existence for over 700 years. They have a very good historical background for over 700 years. And before later, Osman Danfodio now migrated to Sokoto, where he now established Sokoto Caliphate.
All right.
So looking at that historical background for over 700 years, then it means that even the history of Danfodio was even traced back to even Mali, that is Punta Jalo and Funta Toro.
All right then. Okay, our first caller has come in. Good morning to you, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yari, and good morning to the doctor.
Yes.
Uncle Yari,
good morning. How are you, my brother?
To form a military outfit for ECOWAS is a step in the right direction. I think a 5,000 member team is just for a start. Members will have to contribute more to the number so as to become strong in defense of the borders and cases like intrusions that you were talking about. Another thing I would like to suggest to ECOWAS is that they should not give these three countries the impression that they are missing them, and without them, ECOWAS cannot exist. It's the leaders among them who want to perpetuate a military rule in those countries that will be enjoying that one. They should know that military rule has been apportioned in the world, and Africa or West Africa cannot be an exemption. They are dragging the world back, and that should not be permitted. When you keep making them look as if without them ECOWAS cannot do, how would they know that the military rule that they are perpetuating, how would they know that it is wrong and it's no longer fashionable? Let ECOWAS come to terms with doing without these three countries as a way of telling others who may want to conduct or who may want to go military in their administration that it is not allowed. Heavens will not fall. If they try anything, this military force that is being organized, we check them. And I commend ECOWAS for that move. That's my view.
All right, then. Well, thank you very much, Mr. George, calling in from Lagos. Dr. Shinkafi, what do you think of that point of view? That is not the point of view of the Committee of Heads of State of ECOWAS. In fact, as he has said and complained about, that might they not go and get the impression that they cannot be done without? And is that the right kind of question, whether or not they can be done without?
Yeah, you see, the membership of the ECOWAS is not obligatory or is not by force. Looking at the Cameroon, is also West African state, and they decided not to be part of the membership of ECOWAS. Partially, even Libya is part of West African state and decided not to be part of ECOWAS. So it's not by compulsion, it is by interest for anybody to belong to an association, because look, we have to look at these three countries. It's a sovereign state. They gain their independence from their colonial master, likewise the way Nigeria gained independence from British colony. So to belong to a membership of ECOWAS is not by compulsion, it's not obligatory, and it's not by force. It's by the will of these states, because these states are sovereign states and are not under any colonization or any force of imperialism by other members of the state. So I agree with the ECOWAS state, leaving the door open for Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger to come back at their own will. But if they decided not to come back, I think it has no any much serious consequences. But we are looking only at the economic and political and the security challenges we are having, most especially in the northwestern region and the northeast region. So that is why you see most of these states are appealing to this Niger Republic, most especially Niger Republic. Our Nigerians are not so bothered with Mali or Burkina Faso, but they are more bothered with the Niger Republic because of the long-standing relationship which was established for over 7 or 8 centuries. That is only the psychological and emotional feelings of the people of the Northwest and the Northeast that Niger should come back and belong to the ECOWAS countries. That is it. But it is not under compulsion.
No.
It is not by force. These West African countries that form this ECOWAS state is like a union of mainly British and French countries which were colonized by these imperial masters. That's it.
Now,
and that's true of the matter. But because of the porosity of the border in Niger Republic with the Nigerian states, and that is why we want them to come back. Exactly. Because the fight against armed banditry, terrorism of this Lakurawa, ISIS, Boko Haram, and the armed bandit cannot be achieved effectively and efficiently without Niger Republic being in this ECOWAS standby forces.
And that is probably...
When you look at the formation of this ECOWAS standby forces, how many numbers of personnel this country will also deploy. What is the financial commitment? Because if a Nigerian military or army is being paid allowances of 1,500, just last week or last 2 weeks, it was increased to 3,000. Then deploying somebody in a deep forest or in a deep Sahara, looking at also the devaluation of Nigerian currency, you deploy somebody to, let's say to where they have this SEPA, let's say Benin Republic or Togo. How can he giving him money in Naira? How will he sustain himself in the fight against this crime and criminality in this state, looking at the devaluation of our currency?
Okay. All right. I'll tell you what, Dr.
So that
Oshinka.
should be a serious financial commitment
okay.
from all the members of the states.
We'll take a break now, Dr. Abdullahi Shikafi. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Do please stay with us. And just before we go, can I just say once more that you can also pick us up, receive us, that is, on our YouTube channel, in addition to the reception available to diaspora viewers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sometimes it's the story that calls. At other times, the people just want to be heard.
School, I need students, but I need teacher.
Can't continue like this.
Their voices re-echoing through time itself.
We haven't done anything. If the tide is high, everybody run for safety.
Their tears leave a sweet sour taste for all their demands. A familiar call beckoning for change. In our world, no one expects a disaster to happen. But when it does, we'll be there to x-ray all sides, from the east to the west, north and south. Community Forum will examine the oddities and challenges to economic development, as well as issues yearning for government intervention. Watch fresh episodes of Community Forum on Sundays by 9:30 p.m. only on TVC News.
Okay, welcome back. Our guest is Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi, Security Consultant, Executive Director of Patriots for the Advancement of Peace and Social Development. And we're looking at, implications of the ongoing 43rd Ordinary Meeting of ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff in Abuja. There are a number of issues, of course, significant is among which is that Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have withdrawn their membership, and the body has said that the doors remain open and that they hope that they will reconsider. But this force that is being activated now, the standby force, possibly up to 5,000 strong. How is it going to maintain? And Dr. Shinkafi was on that because at this particular meeting, it is the meeting will also be considering pledges for the ECOWAS standby force and things like the rotation of officers among them. So money, we're coming to money now because you were pointing out that it's going to cost something, more than a little. And this is also, number one, they want to look at the pledges, review them, and this is quite a serious aspect of this whole operation. And never mind the niceties of we want our brothers in Mali to, reconsider, same thing with the other countries as well. But just given the wide expanse of, shall we say, border, sharing between Nigeria and these countries, it's a real task on our hands, and beyond just the name, just for it to just be seen that we are doing something, it does appear that there's a real challenge on our hands here, as a result of the pulling out of those three countries. Mali, for instance, I don't know if it will feel obligated to protect Nigeria by moving their people, moving their forces to the borders to thwart terrorists. How is all of that going to work?
You see, Nigeria share border with the 4 countries. Nigeria share border with Benin Republic, with Niger Republic, with Chad Republic, with Cameroon also. And out of these 4 countries, 17 states in Nigeria share border with these 4 countries. Akwa Ibom share border with Cameroon Republic, with Cameroon. And the Cameroon is not a member also of ECOWAS state. Taraba state share boundary with Cameroon. Benue state share boundary with Cameroon through the land and the sea border. Also, Borno state share border with Cameroon and Chad and Niger. You see, Borno state share border with Cameroon, share border with Chad, share border with Niger Republic. So Yobe state share border with Niger Republic, Katsina state share border with Niger Republic, Jigawa state share border with Niger Republic, Sokoto share border with Niger Republic, Kebbi state share border with Benin and Niger Republic. Sokoto equally even share border with Benin and Niger Republic. Then also Zamfara state share border with Niger Republic. Niger state share border with Benin Republic. Ogun state share border with the Benin Republic. Lagos share border with the Benin Republic and Togo Republic. Yeah, and then also Oyo state share border with Benin Republic. So these states, 17 states, share border with these 4 countries, which also are our neighboring state. So if the ECOWAS standby forces in all will now bring off a total numbers of 5,000 security or ECOWAS standby forces to fight this crime and criminality, looking at the size of the porosity of the border, looking at the landmass in the West African state is so minimal. 5,000 is so minimal. It cannot make a lot of significant impact in the fight against terrorism, armed banditry, cattle rustling, proliferation of smaller and lighter arms, and illegal smuggling of hard drugs. So these forces are too minimal. So these ECOWAS states, looking at the fooling out of Niger Republic, then it is not going to be very effective, and the fight against armed banditry, insecurity, terrorism. Looking at now, let me give you an example of Borno State. It is share border with the 3 West African states. So this, if Cameroon is not part of ECOWAS standby forces, what Cameroon will only do is to protect their territorial integrity. They have no business with ECOWAS standby forces. And then also, in the Niger Republic, they only have to mind their border. They don't have anything to do with Nigeria border or also ECOWAS standby forces. Then Chad is a membership of ECOWAS state, and they have no full out. So Chad may not be enough to curtail this fight against insecurity around that Borno state border. This is one of the implications. Very minimal. And looking at also the financial cost, what is the commitment of these membership states?
This is what they will be reviewing. Are they going to be contributing funds? Are they going to be contributing funds on quarterly basis, on monthly basis, on annual basis, or on 6 months? Because most of this joint operation, always they may have a good intention of doing it, but the implementation will be so scanty. Well, Dr. Shinkafi, these are among issues that are being discussed at this ordinary meeting, 43rd ordinary meeting of ECOWAS Committee of Chiefs of Defense Staff. These points, these very important points that you brought out, since they themselves are talking about reviewing the pledges, maybe even deciding for an increment in those pledges, but you are pointing out that historically it's all right to meet at these conferences and talk about these things as a talk shop, but the implementation has somehow, you know, hasn't lived up to the billings of the actual discussions. That's the point that you're making, that we will return, where they will come back from this meeting that is going on, and governments, for various reasons, might be, I don't want to use the word foot dragging, but shall I say priorities will differ, and so governments in these countries might not come across adequately. And that leads us back to the question, so what do we do? There is a clear and present danger as a result of the withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. There's a clear and present danger, no doubt about it. But it does seem like, against the backdrop of your analysis, that 5,000 is nothing really when it comes to the extent of the work, the expanse of the theaters, potential theaters. So what do we do? What are your thoughts on what can be done? Because this whole 43rd ordinary meeting, I understand from reading reports, is to sort of mitigate or stem the unintended consequences of the withdrawal of these sister countries of ours.
Yeah, you see, the membership of the ECOWAS countries is 15 to 16, and now for Niger Republic to pull out, to withdraw, and Mali and Burkina Faso living at the 12 or 13 states. So living at the 13 states, let's assume the remaining 13 states will deploy 500 security personnel. That will put on the total of 6,500. 6,500, looking at the land mass, the vast land mass of Niger Republic and Mali and even Burkina Faso. Mali, as I have said earlier, share border with Mauritius, share border with Algeria, share border with Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau, with Togo, with Ghana. Then also share border with Cape Verde. Then also looking at also, what do you call it, Burkina, share border with Senegal, share border with Nigeria, share border with Mali, so they have share border with all these neighboring countries, and there is higher land mass. I have said it earlier that when you remove Mali is the second largest West African state with the population, with the land mass. So if they have withdraw, leaving the neighboring countries border open, or leaving the neighboring countries without any support in the fight against this terrorism, because Mali has a lot of terrorists, and they have also a lot of insecurity challenges, including Burkina Faso and Niger Republic. So for them to pull out, we either take it or leave it. There's a lot of serious backwardness in the fight against insecurity in the ECOWAS sub-region or in the Gulf of Guinea. So now, on the issue of the deployment, 500 personnel per the remaining membership state will not make any significant effect. Looking at the widespread of insecurity, most especially, let me give you an illustration of Zamfara, Sokoto, Kebbi, Katsina, what do you call it? Yes, Sokoto, Kebbi, Katsina, or even part of Jigawa. If you will now deploy like 500 standby forces, what impact will those do What impact? So what we need, there should be an also advance in technology. There should be a constant logistic supply. They should be highly motivated. They should be staffed and well equipped with the highest technological support by the using artificial intelligence, using drones and other jet fighters. But that is the only way, because we have to now deviate from conventional fight against insecurity to go to advanced technology. Without advanced technology, we cannot achieve any meaningful effect on the fight against this terrorism. The ECOWAS state should find a way of deploying technology by using satellite to mine these borders, illegal routes.
Okay, so go the way of science and technology, the modern age. This has to be emphasized. But there are cost implications. Yeah. And
that is the more emphasis now they should give, because the human, what do you call it? The deployment of the personnel may not have, will not have a very wide coverage on this fight against insecurity.
Not unless we can, as you said, even if they were to contribute, for example, 500 personnel each, it still doesn't add up to very much. And every country has.
Yeah, if they can put 500, they can come to the total of 6,500 of the remaining membership states.
So, well, you've also said that in the past, going by what has been happening in the past, we have these conferences, a lot of research, information, intelligence, no doubt will be shared there. But now, as you said, moving back at the end of the conferences, moving back to how it is that these security forces work together, it isn't always operating at the best, meaning that the gaps are still there. And by the way, when they talk about the unintended effects of the withdrawal of these countries, I don't know what that would be. What do you understand that to mean? Unintended effects.
Can you come back again?
I say when when we're talking about the unintended effects of the withdrawal of the three countries that we're talking about, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, what exactly is meant by, in militaristic terms, about the unintended effects? We always knew it was not good news.
Yeah, you see, the unintended effect, looking at, let me give you the scenario of all these three countries. These three countries toppled the democratically elected government. And the ECOWAS membership state, going by the ECOWAS treaty, which they have signed in 1970, we give a priority of finding a diplomatic way of resolving this issue, not by threatening of taking a military action. But for them to withdraw, then they don't hold what do you call the ECOWAS any obligation, but they maintain their membership in the African Union also.
Okay. Well,
they are still members of the African Union. The only way now you can bring back Niger Republic, Mali, and Burkina Faso to support these standby forces, in line with the ECOWAS standby forces, integral part of African standby forces. So African standby forces, all membership of African Union are members of African, can also deploy security at the African standby forces. So this is the only way now. This is the only gap remaining for the Chief of Defense Staff to now bring in Niger to deploy forces using the African standby forces. And African standby forces is integral part of United Nations Chapter 8 of United Nations Charter.
Well, we're going to have to leave it here, Dr. Dr. Sani Abdullahi Shinkafi. I want to thank you very much for making time for us this morning. Dr. Shinkafi is a security consultant, executive director, Patriots for the Advancement of Peace and Social Development. Thank you very much, Dr. Shinkafi, for your insights into this matter.
Okay, thank you, Yori. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Our pleasure. Thank you. Okay, that's our program. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye-bye for now.
Doubt and fear doesn't occur at the canvas, it shows in the canvas. It shows the conation of raw earthen material slabbed, stroked and molded at a pace provided by the doubt and fear. Every move way in the struggle of one to the other, merging the past to the present, brushstrokes of colors seen but not known. For when the wailing stops, the pieces settle down in abject beauty erected for a century of a century. Speaking, advocating, protesting as the arts are meant to be.
You're watching Beyond 100 Days with Nifemi Oguntoye. President Tinubu, since he assumed office,
we are on our way to progress.
6 out of the 8 APC federal lawmakers.
I have a movement structure that's going to take back our party in Enugu State. Because this one I'm saying is tales by moonlight. It's not working.
So I'm wondering what you think or who you think can stop him now.
He doesn't own the party.
One of the causes of inflation is because people cannot go to the farm.
The government still needs to do more so that people can eat.
I believe we're clamoring for is more responsible use of social media. Not that people just go in there and think that they can say anything to anybody.
Tinubu is not one who believes in the simple. I mean, he wants to get it done. He will face it. He will get it done.
Yes, the president, from inception of his administration, focused squarely on diversifying the economy and driving in investments to cushion the effect of everything that we've seen, ranging from COVID-19 to the global commodity shocks, global financial crisis and all of that.
I was privileged to have worked under a governor who believed in the system, who also built up the system, and I'm going to do same.
All right, that's our show today, everyone. Thanks for being a part of it.
TVC News, first with breaking news.
Every weekday on Business Nigeria, we uncover the secrets of the financial world.
We analyze the stock market, shares, bonds, and the thrilling world of cryptocurrency.
Facts matter. Our team dives deep to separate fact from popular opinion.
We simplify complex government policies as it impacts your everyday life, helping you navigate the ever-changing financial landscape.
Watch Business Nigeria every weekday at 2 p.m. only on TVC News. First with breaking news.
Every major news story is with many perspectives and layered with different levels of impact.
Hello. What time did this happen? We will be right there.
At TVC News, we follow the big and major news, gathering the facts, witnessing the outcome.
I am here live at the aftermath of the approval of the new national minimum wage.
We are TV Station of the Year, not just for breaking news, but for being first, fair and accurate. TVC News, first with breaking news.
At TVC News, wherever the big news story is happening, we're geared up to break it. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Live from our studio in Lagos, Nigeria, this is TVC Midday News. We are tracking developments at the scene of the devastating tanker accident which happened at the Otedola Bridge in Lagos yesterday, Sunday, and it resulted in widespread destruction and loss of life. We can now tell you that the CMD road is now open to traffic following the removal of the charred tanker which exploded yesterday by emergency responders. Heavy lifting equipment were deployed while recovery officials pushed back media as a protective measure due to gas oozing out of the tanker. Emergency services were hard at work as they worked to remove the burnt-out tanker and recover the bodies of the victims. Damping down the charred remains of the tanker with gas, fumes and odor evident. Recovery trucks also removed debris from the site of the explosion.
With the church side out there.
Law enforcement officials are also in hot pursuit of suspects who may have fatally wounded an unidentified individual. Hoodlums attempted to take advantage of the situation near the scene, but law enforcement officials quickly restored order.
The incident happened yesterday night around past 8, and we are the first to get here. Immediately we call another major responders. All hands has been on deck to make sure that all the victims that can be rescued, the needful has been done.
Yesterday, as of yesterday evening, we had 4 fatality, and of course I've been able to rescue not less than 20 victims, and we're stabilized at the scene of incident, and of course some of them with some level a 50% degree of burns were taken to the Bagada Burns unit, and some of them were taken to General Hospital for secondary treatments.
We have our own family, we have kids. We just need the support of the Lagos State government, to help us to talk to the owner of their company for our own property. That's what we want.
Earlier today, emergency services officials recovered the body of the occupant of a Toyota Corolla vehicle impacted by the tanker explosion. Artisans who lost tools and vehicles beside the explosion scene are demanding compensation. Our investigation is still ongoing to ascertain the cause of the gas tanker explosion under the Otedola Bridge portion of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Now, for more updates on the fire incident, our senior correspondent Sarah Ayeko joins me for more updates. Sarah, bring us up to speed on the current situation at the Otedola Bridge and events surrounding this gas tanker explosion.
Abosede, it's been really, should I say, traumatic for a lot of the residents, particularly the mechanic village, which was really affected. This building over here, which is a residential building, and it's housed. They had the dental clinic just below in this one-story building. For the tricycle owners, for some of the vehicle owners, for of course the families that have lost their loved ones. In this incident, it's been really traumatic. Just watching in 16 hours, all of this unfolded. So this happened at about 8 p.m. on Tuesday night, and when it happened at about that time, we understand that a gas tanker, a 30-ton gas tanker, was coming in from this area, which is from this Ketu area, and then was trying to ascend this CMD road. Some persons had said that what actually happened was that the vehicle had lost its brake. They were trying to fix that particular vehicle, and they were testing it before it came out of the second coming filling gas station, which is not too far from where the incident happened. While the tanker was coming down this road, we understand that it was honking, but at the time while it was honking, some persons moved out of the way for him, and then it swerved, hit this culvert, and then the tank overturned, and then we had that eruption happen at about 8 p.m. last night. So what we've seen so far is that the road is now open for traffic. Earlier before now, this happened about 20 minutes ago. Earlier before now, the tanker was just at this particular spot over there where you see that vehicle without a plate number. That's where the tank had fallen, and then that's where you had the major impact, where the gas, of course, very volatile, because gas is very volatile, and so it took about more than 12 hours for the emergency responders, particularly the firefighters, to put out the fire from the gas tank and also from adjoining buildings that were affected. The mechanic village and some other vehicles around this area were also affected, but this particular building, we heard the landlord talking earlier. He has not spoken to us on camera yet. He wants to actually take us to his house to see the impact of this incident. For him, who is in his old age already, he's not really happy about what happened. He feels that this could have been avoided if the relevant authorities, the security agencies and law enforcement agencies had done their part of the job.
Definitely, Sarah. No one would be, happy or excited about an incident of this magnitude, which has taken lives and, lot of property. Talk to us about casualty figure. What is the latest the emergency responders are saying has happened? How many people have died? Are there any persons who are receiving treatment in hospitals? Just talk to us about that.
So for now, the number that we've had, last night we had that 2 persons that died here at the scene. This morning when we got here, we confirmed that 4 persons had died. 4 persons, I'm talking about one of the mechanics, I understand, was trying to save his customer's vehicle, and then it was caught in the fire, and then he died a few meters away from here. Another person, we're not too sure if it's the motorboy or the driver of the truck in question, also died at this place, this particular spot, right there in the gutter there. Earlier this morning, his mangled body was actually brought out. Of course, it's too gory for us to show on air. His body was brought out and bagged and given to SEMU, that's the agency in charge of dead bodies which collaborates with the emergency responders, and so his body was taken away this morning. We kind of don't have identity of some of the persons yet, because some persons died in some of the vehicles that were affected here. 12 vehicles were also affected. I understand 8 tricycles, some of them that were parked along in that's opposite the mechanic village. Some of them were parked at this other side of the road, and so some of them were also affected. They've been asking for compensation, because really, where do they direct their questions to? this may not directly be the government's responsibility, but for the company now, they're asking who is going to pay compensation for the loss they've incurred just in 16 hours. Most of them are not really happy about the situation. It almost got a bit chaotic earlier on when we saw some scavengers trying to take advantage of the situation. But what we know for now is that no company has owned up or come up to say they own the vehicle, but we saw on the gas tank a second coming, which is a gas station not too far from here. So we're expecting that since recovery is almost done at this particular scene, we're expecting that the relevant agencies will continue the investigations and then of course hold this gas company to book, hold them responsible for this incident, and probably some kind of compensation will come out. But the question is, for how long will these affected residents, these business owners, for how long will they have to wait for that compensation to come? This area is very volatile. Not too far from here, you see a no entry for truck sign. There have been arguments about where exactly was the truck coming from. So we understand that the truck was coming in from here. So the no entry for truck, I understand it has to do with the bridge. So trucks are not allowed to use the bridge, this particular bridge, they're not allowed to use it. But then the question of should they be using this small road, which should be for motorists, small car owners, should they be using this particular road? That's a question that we're asking. But the argument is, since you have filling station, petrol filling station on this road, you also have a gas station on this road, how would they be supplied? So these are some of the questions that have popped up earlier today, and we're hoping that the government, of course, will come up with stricter measures. They have laws. It's not like there are no laws, but they have laws, but stricter measures, enforcement, because around this area alone, we have about 3 checkpoints. Just at that CMD, the Otedala point, under this bridge, there's another checkpoint. Down this road, there's the DSS office. So there are various checkpoints along this route. And it also brings the question about how fit are these vehicles on the Nigerian road. So different questions popping up, but the major thing now is, where does compensation come from, and when will this compensation get to these affected persons?
Real huge questions, and we hope that we can get answers to them in the hours and days and weeks to come. Senior correspondent Sarah Ayeku, thank you very much for that robust, detailed update you've given us about the Otedala gas tanker explosion. I'll just stay with TVC News because we'll be bringing you further updates as this developing story continues. Now, from Lagos to Oyo, there is another sad story about an explosion, and it's almost the same as a fire which destroyed several shops and goods worth millions of naira, and it's at the Aleshinloye market in Ibadan. TVC News learns that the fire started late last night. General Manager of the Oyo State Fire Services, Akinyemi Akinyinka, confirmed the incident and said officials were deployed immediately the incident happened. As at the time of this report, the cause of the outbreak is yet to be ascertained. Well, let's now speak with our senior reporter, Olaide Oyewole, who joins me from Ibadan for more updates. Olaide, what more can you tell us about this, fire incident in Ibadan?
So, Abosede, it will surprise you to know that this incident has landed some traders in the hospital, while those who are here still counting their losses are still struggling to come to terms with the enormity of the devastation that has happened. So, from NEMA, National Emergency Management Agency, we learned that over 500 shops have been affected here. Some have up to 2, 3, 4, 5, even up to 10 shops here, and all of those shops, for some people, were affected by this disaster. And the surprising thing is that we learned from eyewitnesses that when the incident happened last night around 10, surprisingly, look, there is a fire service just about a few meters away from the Aleshinloye market. And when they were contacted about the disaster yesterday, they could not respond to it because they said there was no water and there was no tanker. So tanker that is loaded with water. So it took the intervention of some private companies to come and assist them with water to be able to contain the fire to a particular to an extent. So, but then the devastation is much, and traders are still counting their losses, and they hope that the government will come to intervene on this matter and compensate them if they want to compensate them. Abosede.
Yeah, Olaide, what exactly is the election lawyer market known for? Because I'm trying to, just to understand, the kinds of goods that must have been in those shops that have been affected by this fire.
So Abosede, this section of the market is where plastics are being sold. Plastics and rubber items are being sold. So this contributed largely to the combustion that led to the huge fire. So, and there was no water to contain the inferno yesterday. So it's really contributed to the spread of the fire. And well, of course, in election lawyer, there are several sections. There are sections where they sell food items. There are sections where they sell other things like electronics and all of that. But this section is the place where they sell plastics and rubber items. So this I say again that contributed to the large to the spread of the fire. Abosede.
Yes, and have we heard anything just yet from the fire services leadership considering the allegation that when they were contacted, they couldn't do anything because they didn't have water and neither did they have a tanker?
So we have not seen any fire service official here to actually confirm if it was true that they could not come to the aid of the people when it happened yesterday. Well, we heard from some of residents here that they are scared of their lives, that they may be attacked if they come here and they want to intervene and all of that. So we've not been able to speak with any of them because they are not on ground, but we're able to speak with other officials like the NEMA, who said they are still conducting their investigation to know the number of shops affected because the shops are still counting and all of that. So those are those we were able to speak with. So for now, we are still expecting the state government itself to issue an official statement to this incident so that we can know where they want to take the matter to the way forward. Abosede.
All right, Olaide, thank you very much for that update. And perhaps it's also high time, considering the weather, the very hot weather, it's high time the authorities also, advise Nigerians on best practices, safe practices at this time to keep everyone safe. You're watching TVC Midday News. We'll take a moment, and when we come back, we have more stories for you. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us on TVC Midday News. Let's take you to Ondo State, where some residents, mostly women, are protesting the abduction of 9 surveyors at a site in Iluabo in Akure North local government area of the state. The protesters marched through the streets of Akure and later converged on the governor's office.
We are not seeing any move, but with what you are saying now, that they should please let the government help us. We are helpless. We don't know what to do now.
They are here to express their concerns. They are here to express their fears to their own governor. These are women who gave our governor an overwhelming vote at the polls. So they know that the kind of governor they have is a governor that listens, and that's why they were here. And of course, we attended to them, and we reassured them that there's nothing to fear, there's nothing to worry. The governor of Ondo State, His Excellency Dr. Lucky Orimisan Ayedatwa, is resolutely committed to their security.
Now, the police in Ondo State say they will apprehend the killers of some persons in Sunday Camp, a boundary community between Edo and Ondo States. This comes as a survivor of the attack narrated how he and his brother escaped the well-coordinated assault by herdsmen. Our senior reporter, Ayodeji Moradio, has details.
The Commissioner of Police in Ondo State, Wilfred Afolabi, led a team of officers to the scene of the attack, which occurred at a boundary community between Ondo and Edo states. The attack carried out on Saturday left many people dead and several others injured. The police team had to pass through Edo State to reach the affected community due to the poor condition of the road, which makes the community inaccessible by vehicles. The team met with some community leaders along the road.
How many hours? Maybe at least 30 minutes.
The police commissioner described the situation as complex, stressing that the location of the attack was not the primary concern.
Say that for the past 2 hours now, we've been within the territory of Edo State. But where the incident happened, whether it's in Ondo or whether it's in Edo, is immaterial. For now, the homicide department will take over the case and moving to do the needful.
The team later visited a private hospital in Okada area in Edo State, where one of the survivors is receiving treatment. Said he managed to escape from the community despite sustaining a gunshot wound.
So that they are they inside the sleep. I hear they calculate the nice the knife or do. I know they sleep. Before I wear my blood, they shoot and I mean to walk off from there at sleep.
His younger brother recounted how the incident unfolded.
I sleep around 2:30 like this. I can't hear laku be from where laku be we hear from there then shoot gun. The way we went then shoot gun from there I come up from themselves then near the house.
The corpses of the victims have been deposited at the mortuary. The State Commissioner of Police says those behind the attack will be fished out. Ayodeji Moradeyo, TVC News.
Away from Ondo State, Governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oborewori, has taken a major step toward resolving the conflict between Ogwashioko Kingdom and its neighbors. This follows the receipt of the report of the Commission of Inquiry into Kingship and the land tussles that have caused death and destruction of property. Iken Amechi reports.
Ogwashioko Kingdom has been enmeshed in communal clashes with neighbors from Utulu, Ibuzo, Okpanam, Bulekiti, Iwulu, Asagwa Ogwash, Abo Ogwash, and others over land and kinship tussle. In one of the clashes in the Utulu community in 2021, one native was killed, vehicles burnt, and property destroyed, which made residents to stage a peaceful protest to Government House. The state government has been intervening, and just last October, a commission of inquiry was set up to look into the issues. Today, the commission of inquiry is here to submit its report with recommendations.
Please, let's put our hands together. We recommend that the Delta State government codify the customary procedure for succession to its role. In line with global best practices, communities that seek self-determination or autonomy should not be suppressed but rather guided to follow due legal and administrative processes. These will foster harmony and prevent unnecessary conflicts.
For the governor, it is important for all residents to live in peace and unity, which will endear development and growth. He pledges prompt study and release of white paper on the Commission of Inquiry's reports.
I assure the people of Ubachuku and Eva and neighboring community that the state government will commence the study of this report immediately, and a white paper on it will be issued as soon as possible. It is imperative that I use this opportunity to once again appeal to the feuding communities to give peace a chance and embrace the spirit of harmony, cooperation, and peaceful coexistence. I wish to reiterate my earlier charge that the delta of our dreams has no room for bitterness and bigotry. We must commit ourselves to loving one another, respecting one another, and being tolerant of one another.
Governor Oborowori has demonstrated his capacity to resolving crises since assumption of duty. From Okwama and Okoloba crisis to Ogbijo and Alaja conflict. He has remained pragmatic and resolute in his decision-making. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Asaba.
That is TVC Midday News. We thank you for watching. For more updates on the stories we're monitoring, please visit our website, www.tvcnews.tv. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG. On YouTube, we are live at TVC News Nigeria, and we have updates on WhatsApp at TVC News Nigeria. I'll be back at the top of the hour with more updates. Please stay with TVC News. I am Abosede Adenio Adrem.
The Inspector General of Police has met with senior officers to review the state of security.
We are continuing our coverage of the arrest of Godwin Emefiele.
The Senate has summoned the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria to properly brief the Senate regarding the state of the economy.
What I will never take.
Let's now bring you more development from Ibadan, the Oyo State capital,
where an explosion has taken place. Tell us about this incident.
TVC News. First with breaking news.
Welcome to Labour Lens. I am Sharon Ijason. On this week edition of the program, we'll be focusing on the prospects and challenges of healthcare workers in Nigeria. We also have news stories for you. We will be right back.
These 10 CNG-powered buses now belong to the 6 states that make up the Northeast Zone, as donated by the federal government to ease mobility challenges. This is part of the agreements reached between the Nigeria Labour Congress and federal government following subsidy removal. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony, the Nigerian Labour Congress president asked both the federal and Adamawa state government to do more, emphasizing the need for additional buses. Mr. Ajeru also commended the Adamawa state government for its cooperation with the Nigerian Labour Congress and its commitment to workers' welfare.
As we are commissioning this one here today, just like other states, there are no filling stations where CNG is being dispensed. And now the essence of having CNG buses will be defeated if there are no CNG filling stations where we can refill it. We'll go back to square zero, buying PMS at the cutthroat prices. So I plead.
Governor Ahmadu Fintiri of Adamawa, represented by his Chief of Staff, Edgar Amos, welcomed the initiative and called for more CNG buses to be deployed to the region. Chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress Adamawa chapter, Emmanuel Fashe, believes that the newly introduced CNG buses would help alleviate transportation challenges in the state.
Call on the federal government to be more sensitive in the formulation and implementation of its policies and programs to ensure that they do not cause more pain to workers or ordinary Nigerians. You will agree with me, today's occasion is unprecedented, of course, as far as I know, in the history of labor movement as far as the state is concerned. And of course, I dare say in Nigeria.
The Nigerian Labour Congress president also shares the outcome of the meeting with the communication service providers.
Came out from engaging them, and they agreed to reverse to 35% from the 50%. We were told that they asked for 100%. And the federal government gave them 50%. And to them, it is Bible. It's not anybody can do. But so far, we've been able to engage them to 35%, which is to take effect from March 1st.
The move has been commended by residents of the Northeast region, but wants the federal government to increase the number of buses.
Nigeria. The Director General of the National Directorate of Employment NDE, Silas Agara, has reiterated the commitment of the agency to collaborate with the armed forces in providing specialized skills for Nigerians. He made the commitment during a visit by members of the Advisory Board of Operation Safe Corridor to the management of NDE, in recognition of the agency's immense support over the years.
To support the 3 stages of what we are doing, reintegration, de-radicalization, process of these repentant criminals is what we stand to do with you. We have the capacity, we have the manpower, we have the facilities that will enable smooth operation of those processes. And I want to assure you that not just because we are part of the Operation Safe Corridor, but the fact that we are doing a very big tax that is adding value to the system will make our facilities open and available at any time that you will need the support of NDE.
Members of the board, led by Brigadier General Yusuf Ali, want a better collaboration on the future of the rehabilitation and reintegration of repentant insurgents in Nigeria. Since 2016, both agencies have been involved in structured pathway for former combat to disengage from armed groups through de-radicalization, vocational training, and psychological support to help them build their lives and reintegrate into the society.
The mindset needs to be reprogrammed and changed so that they can see alternative and better ways towards pursuing their aspirations and violence. Then, whilst there, we also try to make them useful to themselves and to the society at the end of their stay with us, thereby providing skills for them so that they can be of use to the society.
For the doctors, they probably feel that if they go abroad, it's a better place for them and all that. But like what we heard today, especially from Mr. Leke Alda, we are a blessed nation. The only thing we need to do is come into the terms that we need to change our minds and help make our country great. That's all I can say. That's all. I don't support it. We should stay and work on what we have and do well with what we have and make sure that Nigeria is greater than what we have now. We can't be thinking that what we have now is not good enough, so we could just go. The doctors and all. Even talking about everybody, people are jackpying. Everybody feels that it's better for them to move to other countries to be able to do well. But we need to change our mind and believe that our nation can be better.
I may intend to go leave the country to do something, but while getting there, my whole trajectory may change, or I may want to be or become something else. So personally, on a personal level, I wouldn't say I support or I did not support, because decisions are individualistic and we tend to want to do something else, even if we started with a different purpose at the beginning. So on the context of health workers, I think we are just following our individual paths, and when someone can get there and choose to come back or may not want to come back. So it's personal bias and decisions.
For the younger ones living in Nigeria, probably going to the health workers rather, leaving Nigeria to go to other countries, I rather advise that even if you want to leave, acquire the knowledge and bring it back home so that yes, it can be useful and relevant to the upcoming one. Instead of just living permanently, why not come back and repair your own country and make it a better place? Or what you see over there, why not come back home and replicate that? And yes, definitely, I believe Nigeria will be great one day.
Condition in Nigeria is not very favorable for any worker, even medical workers. So it's completely irrational for them to want to move out to find greener pasture. But the thing is that for Nigeria to be built, we have to have our brain people in this country, the medical workers and other people, to be in this country to work with the country to make it work out. But then the environment is not very favorable because the government are not really doing well. So I think for we to really work well, the government has to provide an environment of opportunity that will help the country to be favorable for workers to work well. And I think that's just the key to the question. For the government to come together and make the country favorable for opportunities, possibilities, innovation, so that even every worker will want to come here and make it work out. So
On the Profile Interview segment this week, I'll be speaking with the President of the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria alongside the Secretary General of the Union. They both will be sharing their expectations from various stakeholders in the healthcare sector as regards the well-being of their members. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much. My pleasure having you.
Yeah, so talking about the world of work, when it comes to the health workers, there are reports of infectious diseases around us as we speak, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa. When it comes to the welfare of health workers, as a leader of workers, what would be your recommendations to government and relevant stakeholders in the industry?
Thank you very much, Sharon. I think let me begin by saying the issue of infectious diseases surfacing in Africa is very natural. There is no way you can do away with infectious diseases. Professionally, we call them communicable or transmissible diseases. Once there is a life, human life or animal life, there must be an issue of diseases. Coming to the issue of what relevant governments will do to address the issue, I think this is a very, very serious one, because our government tend to be very lazy in aspect of health sector. You can agree with me that a reasonable portion of percentages is coming from donors, while I think if there is any health challenge, before you know it, international bodies are donating a reasonable amount of funds to probably address the issue. So what I'm trying to say is it is high time for government at the African level or region to be on their feet financially. You can also agree with me, just of recent, I think the President of the United States of America decided to opt out from WHO, which there is no way it might not affect the health system in African countries, because America is playing a very significant role financially, materially, and even with the equipment to help African countries to address their health system. Therefore, it is a high time for the African leaders to start somewhere. Then on how to address it, this issue of welfare or good packages of health professionals must also take a look, because now if you take an instance of Nigeria, so many health professionals are moving outside the country, which I assume we call it JAPA of health professionals. That is causing a lot of harm, that is causing a lot of injury to the healthcare delivery in the country. So I think the welfare of the health professionals need to be readdressed with all seriousness.
Talking about adequate infrastructure, would you say that we have enough infrastructure in place in the country? And what more needs to be done to ensure that the workspace is safe and decent for an average worker?
Well, I think if you talk about African context, it's a broad discussion, but let me probably talk about Nigerian context. Well, I think it's very alarming and disheartening. If you go to any of the community now, you can see overcrowded population of patients that are going to that hospital to access healthcare services. So to me, even the hospital infrastructure is not even enough. Then talking about the manpower, you will agree with me, most of these hospitals, they lack manpower. Is looking at the WHO provision that each and every doctor is supposed to, medical doctor is supposed to see a patient of 200 per day. But nowadays, I am very much sure none of the medical doctor is seeing patient not below 500 in a day. And I think this is a very serious issue. We need to take it with all seriousness. Then the issue of 3 tiers of health system. Government must pay positive attention to the primary healthcare health system. Once primary healthcare system was given proper attention, I'm very much sure even the secondary and tertiary level will not have much difficulties, because most of the cases going or looking at tertiary hospitals are primary cases, which are, if they were taken care in an appropriate way at the primary level, I think there is no need of going to secondary health system and even tertiary health system. Then I think the issue of training at our institution, health and medical institutions also need to be adjusted, because the world is changing globally. And I'm very much sure if you take a look at most of our curriculum now, I think is very, very quite challenging compared to what is happening in other parts of the world.
Recently, the president approved an extension of retirement age for healthcare workers from 60 to 65. What's your take on this? Owing to the fact that we know that we have lots of health workers that migrated out of the country, and we still have to keep some of this experienced hands in the system.
Well, thank you very much. Let me start with the issue of extension of age retirement of health professionals by the federal government. I'm not bragging or rather proud, but Nigeria is blessed with a talent that you can't compete with Nigeria in all other countries in the world when it comes to issue of intelligence, when it comes to issue of talent. I can tell you, go to US, one of the biggest hospitals are managed by Nigerians. So I think when it comes to issue of talent, we are blessed, we have them, and God has provided for us. Then the issue of age retirement, to me, is a very welcome development, because health system is a system where you need to groom those who are coming up. For example, if you have 10 medical doctors that are retired, that are engaged or employed for 20 years, the experiences, the skills they acquired in the process of the daily service delivery, I think cannot be compared with the one that probably employed 5-10 years. And most of it is not about theoretical aspect, it's more a practical aspect. Therefore, those that has the experience, those that have the skills, honestly, they need to be in the system. Then secondly, the issue of retirement, you will agree with me also, anybody that attend 35 years of working experiences, that is when he has the full technical know-how of that profession. But once in the health industry, if you elongate it to that period, it will enable that personnel to give or to groom up those who are coming up, and I believe the health system will be better. Then issue of migration to outside the country, let me be honest with you, the basic factor is about welfare or the packages that Nigerian government decided to pay to health professionals. Once there is a better package, everybody will decide to remain in his country. So I think let me use this opportunity to call on federal government as a matter of urgency to do everything possible to adjust as well as improve the welfare packages of health professionals.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Yes, a lot is happening in the world of work and in the healthcare sector. And the number of health workers that are migrating from Nigeria to other parts of the country, to other parts of the world, to seek greener pastures seems to be increasing. As a leader of workers in Nigeria, what would be your reaction to this development?
Well, I think this is not the first time we discuss on this issue. It's like it's a recurring issue in this country. This issue of Jaffa syndrome, a lot of health workers ranging from all professions are living out of the country for greener pasture. Why I think is attributed to so many reasons. The first is the condition of service, and the second one is the environment. If you look at the way the population of this country is growing day by day, there is need for more health workers. But unfortunately, because of the remuneration, workers decided to move out of the country, and there's inflation day by day. So these are some of the reasons why this issue needs to be urgently tackled by government and all stakeholders. So part of what is supposed to be done is more recruitment of health workers, more remuneration and incentives to the health workers, and a lot of things that will attract even other health workers from the neighboring countries to come and work in this country because of our population. But I think there is need for more collaboration between the federal government, particularly under the Federal Ministry of Health, and all other stakeholders, so that we can equally deal with this menace. If not, I think there should be a time when even the health workers in this country cannot be able to treat our patients.
According to the World Health Organization, Nigeria, not even just Nigeria, most African countries, they are faced with chronic staff shortage. What would be your take on this? Even before the Japa syndrome, we know that there was this ratio between patients and workers that was very wide, not up to the standard by the World Health Organization. What do you think government should be doing at this point in time? Do you think a portal should be opened for health workers that probably are in the private sector? Maybe they should join the public sector to strengthen the institution? Or what do you think can be done to ensure that we manage the situation accordingly?
Well, I think this is also very important, not only on the issue of migration. If you look at the issue of retirement, workers are retiring day by day, either by age or by service years, and there is no replacement and there is no recruitment. So obviously, you will encounter shortage of manpower in our health facilities. We have been receiving so many complaints from our health institutions, from our leadership across the country of non-recruitment of staff. And just last year, there was a waiver to Federal Ministry of Health to employ more health workers. But I think up to this moment, that issue is going lightly. So I want to seize this opportunity and urge the Federal Ministry of Health and all those concerned to immediately start recruiting health workers across the country, ranging from all the professions, because seriously there is lack of these health workers across the country. And the best way is for them to recruit new staff so that along the line they will also build on their career, so that they will become specialists, they will become consultants to replace those who have retired from the service. So I think this is very important also. And this lack of manpower in our health facilities is what brings about stress on duties. And at the end of the day, probably you will have an error. So obviously there is need for government to also come to this kind of issue, so that at least we will equally address this issue.
Talking about stress, like you said just now, what is the union doing towards enhancing the well-being of its members, owing to the fact that it's a peculiar situation we're faced with at the moment, and they actually have to still go about their day-to-day activities? How is the union assisting members at this point in time?
Yes, as I said earlier, error in medical profession is a dangerous issue, because with little error, we can lose life. So as a union, what we are doing, especially to our members, is sensitization. To ensure that we sensitize, we train our people on stress management, and at the same time to ensure that they should be calm whenever they are on duty, so that they can do the right thing. Because it's not about how many people you have seen or what you did during that long hours. It's about to provide efficient and effective service delivery. So we usually engage specialists to go around sometimes on zonal level to have sensitization and so on. As I'm talking to you now, we have a zonal women leadership workshop in southwestern part of this country, which is holding off in Lagos. presently with renowned specialists that will sensitize our health workers in that zone, especially on the issue of stress management and other issues related to their capacity building. So as a union, this is the only contribution we can give to our members.
Yeah, also the Deputy President of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and you're also leading the JOSO Front. What's your take about workers being part of the managerial board, which is the board set up to manage the affairs of parastatals across the country? Specifically to the healthcare sector, you're supposed to be part of the NHIS board. You are not part of it. Do you think the Nigerian people are suffering in one way or the other for workers' input not to be part of the boards that have been constituted already?
Well, as part of the agitations of the health workers, particularly, that's why I belong to, I could remember at the Joint Health Sector Union, which I was opportunity to be leading, one of our agitation is for the Federal Ministry of Health to reconstitute the Federal Ministry of Health or Federal Health Institutions boards, which is very important because our members are also part of the boards, and those boards play a vital role in checkmating the management of the health facilities to provide effective services to our citizens. So I think it's very important. And as labor, I remember during our last or recent engagement with the federal government, this issue was raised, that there is the need for the federal government to